what's not too cute, but incredibly beautiful and devastating in ways is Blue Heron.
Great segue.
So, yeah, thank you.
Have you seen this?
Have you seen it?
Have you seen this?
I know, I've seen this. I know this.
So Blue Heron made its premiere at TIFF last year. When I was there, I heard a lot of buzz around this, particularly because it ended up winning the Best Canadian Discovery, as this is Sophy Romvari's first feature film. So I've been looking forward to watching this, so I'm glad that we all got an opportunity to see it. But before we dive in any further, Adrian, tell us what Letterboxd says about the movie Blue Heron.
All right. Directed by Sophy Romvari. In the late 1990s, a family of 6 settles into their new home on Vancouver Island as internal dynamics are slowly revealed through the experiences of the youngest child, Sasha. Their fresh start is interrupted by the increasingly dangerous behavior of Jeremy, the family's oldest child.
So when I went into this, I knew nothing about it other than like the award it won and from the circuit of critics that it was getting high praise. So I kind of went into suggesting us cover this film relatively blind. And a lot of the cast are people that I would imagine we're not too familiar with. You have Ilul Guven, who plays Sasha, Ringo Reti, who plays the mother, Adam Tompa, who plays the father, Eric Beros, who plays Jeremy, and then Amy Zimmer, who plays adult Sasha. To open us up here, guests first, spoiler free. Chad, what did you think about Blue Heron?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was beautiful and sad. I didn't know much going into it either. I think that Letterboxd summary is very misleading. Not entirely contextually like what it's about, but I think it's misleading tone-wise. But I thought it was very powerful, and most impressive was the writing and the directing for me. I think just the way the story was told was just, I thought, phenomenal, and we can get more into it.
Absolutely. Erica, what did you think of Blue Heron?
I'm definitely with Chad on like the writing of this was very top tier, like very well done. I definitely cried.
Oh, wow.
I love to cry anyway, so like this movie definitely threw some tears my way.
That's why you have for our audio listeners, that's why you have the sunglasses and the Unabomber hoodie, right?
No, I've had a migraine all day, you guys. Nothing is working today. I've taken too many meds and I can't take any more, so just gonna have to power through it. No, it's just something so tragic and something that's just so prevalent for that demographic. And we'll get into it in the spoilers. So I think it's so important to watch to kind of, for people to be like, hey, you're not alone if this is happening in your family. Very beautifully written. I really, really enjoyed this, even though it's like a bittersweet, like you were told a very, very beautiful story, even though it made you kind of sad.
That's a great way to put it. Adrian, I have to admit, sometimes when we do these movies, especially if they are in the film festival circuit, I'm always curious, like if it's going to land or not. And to my pleasant surprise, more often than not, especially for some of the ones we covered about TIFF, you're like, I really enjoyed it. And this one is technically international as well as it's a Canadian film. So tell me, what did you think of Blue Heron?
I liked it, but it's not something I would rewatch. Just because it is heavy. It did kind of trigger me in my experiences. Like, families suck, and it's never easy. We went through similar stuff, like being held hostage by your own kid because of their emotions and, threats of suicide or hurting themselves, what have you. Like, that stuff is real and it's tough. There's no right way to handle it, and I think that was conveyed so perfectly through the movie, especially towards the end of the film. It just ties it all in, where you really see how traumatic it can be. It was intense. So in that sense, I liked it. It's definitely something everybody should watch, but it was tough.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, being vulnerable and kind of talking about some of your experiences. And it's interesting because this movie can be perceived through different people's lenses, right? I think the daughter Sasha is the main point of view that the filmmaker's trying to showcase the movie through, and from what I understand, it's a very personal movie to Sophie. So it's one of those things that, though she is the main POV, the parents have a POV. The brother Jeremy, who we'll get into, can be a POV as well. But I do have a guest that I want to bring in real quick that will summarize some of my thoughts around this movie. Granted, it's from a more comedic film, and he's talking
Always.
and he's talking about baseball. But I have Tom Hanks as Jimmy from A League of Their Own.
Jimmy
And
Doogie.
you know Jimmy.
I love that movie.
It's so good, right? It's
Yeah.
so good. But him talking about Gina Davis's character wanting to leave baseball correlates to how I feel about this film in a different context. So let's bring Jimmy in right now.
It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great.
The hard is what makes it great. And I think that goes to parenting, is the way I'm looking at it. It shows that it is incredibly difficult to be a parent, and it's such a crapshoot as far as what you're going to get in your children. It's a lot of nature versus nurture conversations around how people are, but sometimes no matter how you raise someone, it's not going to be enough, or it's not going to work the same for every kid you have. So this movie really highlighted not just that, but I imagine even for the filmmaker, it probably wasn't easy for her to tell a story that's so personal. I've listened to some of her interviews, and she talks about, a lot of her films, like this is her first feature, but she's done a lot of shorts, and a lot of them do come from like a personal space, so much so that it like blurs the lines of like documentary at times, even, which we can get into a little bit more in spoilers. But I really enjoyed the film. I think it's really, I've mentioned this before, when there's a lot of hype behind a film, it's often hard that it gets met. And this one, again, I didn't know what to expect, but you guys said the directing and writing. What really stood out to me was the cinematography. There are some incredible shots in this movie. There's some very long shots that aren't just stagnant or like moving all over the place, but they're very precise on when it does move. And again, we could get into that specifics in a little bit. But I think that really complemented the tone of this film. To what you were saying, Chad, that the letterbox description was a bit misleading. I think because it makes it sound drastic, or like,
Yeah.
right, or maybe I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, that's because it sounds like you're waiting for something awful to happen. It sounds like it gets really dark, violent, and it maybe does tonally, but not really. It's I don't know, that they're trying to, that explanation makes it sound a little bit more severe and less emotional.
Yeah. Like it is dramatic, but like you said, tonally, it's not like, boom, this happens. Like it's
Yeah.
still very important, but it's like very subtle. Like it's
Yeah.
meant to sometimes it almost like felt like it was a background story until something happened.
Yeah.
But like you said, it didn't have like that bang.
But there was no like major event either. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the point of it. It's like a lot of this isn't.
Maybe we
Go
gotta get
ahead,
into
Adrian.
spoilers. Maybe we gotta get into spoilers, because
Yeah.
let's do our comedy scale and get into spoilers, because I do want to discuss it. I got questions. I got
Adrian's like,
some
hurry
things.
ya.
Yeah.
No,
we gotta
for
get into
sure,
it.
for sure. I'll just say before comedy scale, that like, to the way you're describing it, I feel like a lot of it was like I made a note that this, some people may say that this is a slow movie, but I think it's a patient movie. I
Yeah.
think it's patient in the way that it builds up, sets the foundation of the family dynamic, and not even necessarily sets it up. Those are things that are discovered as the film moves forward. Like some of the questions you have get get answered as far as family dynamic go. And it was almost like, again, not a big explosion of action or like dramatic set piece or anything like that, but it's almost like there's a big bomb at the end of the long wick, and each time the wick goes through, there's like a firecracker that kind of like gets bigger and bigger. And this movie is about how do you not get to the explosion? You know what I mean?
I likened it to
so
like an investigation. Like I was legit like investigating every little scene, like every little thing to try to figure out, okay, what year are we in? Where are
Sure.
we in? Like,
Sure.
but you're piecing these little things together to get like a notion of, okay, they're immigrants. Okay, like all these little tidbits of information that really build it, but that engaged me so much that I was literally looking for these little signs, looking for these little things. That I think that's what the tone really did. Like it doesn't feel like a punch in your face. You had to go find it, but just naturally you wanted to find out all these answers, all these questions.
And I love a film like that. Like when it doesn't decredit the audience's intelligence. You know what I mean? It's like we'll answer all the things, and some of the things we won't answer, we want to be left to a level of interpretation. But it definitely makes you try to put puzzle pieces together because you want to understand the dynamic and what's happening in this story. But yeah, let's do our Commodus scale. Chad, again, your guest, first time, you get to go first. Thumbs up, even, or down? What would you give Blue Heron?
Thumbs up. Both thumbs up. One thumb up. What is Commodus? Commodus is one thumb up.
He's one thumb, but you know, if you want to suggest two, that's fine. We don't frown on that. We support
Sorry,
that.
I got, Siskel and Ebert stuck in my head.
Sure. Just Siskel or Ebert here with
Right,
Commodus. Yeah.
Thumb up.
Anything else spoiler free that gave you a thumb up?
Oh, spoiler free.
You
No.
don't have to. Just, no.
You don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's both. It's a movie that can't be spoiled and can be spoiled simultaneously, which is really interesting, and I think part of the point. So I'll save it for a few moments from now.
Awesome. Erica, Commodus, where are we going?
Thumbs up. Kind of like Adrian, I see how some people would maybe not want to watch this film again, or maybe like give some time in between to maybe revisit it just because of how heavy of tone it is. But I definitely recommend people watch this of all. I don't want to say all ages, regardless that there's children in the film. Like you do want to like see it from an adult lens. But I definitely would recommend that this be a watch in households for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And just to mention, currently it's fine. Like I said, it made a premiere in Toronto at TIFF last year, but it is getting its American theatrical release. So see if your local theaters are still playing it. And if not, I believe it's coming to video on demand shortly. So keep an eye for Blue Heron in that regard. Adrian, where are you going? Commodus scale.
We're gonna go thumbs up. Like I said, it was triggering for me personally, but I still enjoyed it. I think it was a necessary story and a necessary perspective that I don't necessarily see very often. Like you honestly do feel like a hostage in your own family. Like it really hit on that perfect. And like you said, I didn't mention earlier the cinematography was interesting, to say the least. There were a couple shots that I was like, man, that's gorgeous. Like I love that. So it is definitely a thumbs up. It's definitely something most people should watch. Be aware it is triggering for some that have dealt with mental health issues with their kids. But it's definitely a must see. I would say for kids that have hit puberty, it's probably safe for them to watch.
Sure. Thumbs up. Someone who doesn't have kids is kind of like it's really tough. It's the crapshoot, like I mentioned, and I think this really highlights it because there's multiple children in this film, and they all have different personalities, characteristics, and as we get into spoilers, we can kind of talk about some of the symbolism of that. But it's a beautifully made film. I don't think it's going to be for everyone. As far as Adrian's wife must have came and framed the hard eyes.
I know,
She did.
The hard eyes lit up.
Sorry.
Big.
The hard eyes lit up. for our audio only listeners, and if you're new to seeing this, welcome. But if you're not, agents can't help the hard eyes when his wife comes in the scene. Anyways, no, Blue Heron. Blue Heron's great. Beautiful. I think the craft of the filmmaking, from writing, directing, performances, I think everyone, including the children actors in this film, do a phenomenal job.
Kids.
And not even and such a subtle, like, this movie is very subtle in a lot of ways.
Yes, like
It's everything that it doesn't do.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the kids are all right. Like, they're doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No spoiler for your double feature, huh?
They don't need a bunch of dialogue. Like, everything that was missing in it was for a reason, and what I think made it so good.
Yeah. All right, so we're all thumbs up. We have a unanimous thumbs up. Let's get into spoilers around Blue Heron.